Greetings. Hi, everyone. Okay, so for our next lesson, we are going to be comparing literature from a historical text to the actual history of that time. All right, so we're going to be comparing literature, all right, that we read from history, and we're going to compare it with the real things that happened in history during that time. All right, we kind of did this with Fly Girl. All right, when we read Fly Girl, it took place during World War II, and we read about some of the things that Ida went through. All right, and then we compared it to some of the real things that were actually happening during that time, such as the rationing of items. All right, we saw that in literature and in real life. Some of the racism, the sexism, also happening during that time. We did a lot of that with Fly Girl. Now, since we don't have Fly Girl, we're going to be doing it again with another text, and that's the text you're going to be reading, all right, in the link that you see. The text that we're reading is called Thank You, Ma'am. And Thank You, Ma'am took place in the 1920s, all right, in Harlem, New York. And that's special because that's what we call the Harlem Renaissance, all right. In the slides, you can read all about this, all right. The Harlem Renaissance, all right, a little bit about it. Took place during the 1920s. It was in Harlem, New York, all right. It's a time period when African Americans, the art really became popular, all right. The black arts, African American arts became very popular. I'm talking about paintings, music, literature, stories, poems, dance. It all became popular in the 1920s, and it all originated here in Harlem, New York. All right, this was called the Harlem Renaissance. We're reading a story that took place during the Harlem Renaissance. So we're reading a work of fiction on the Harlem Renaissance, and then after that, later on, you'll be reading an actual text about the Harlem Renaissance. So that way you can compare the fiction from the facts. All right, does that make sense? Okay, so for your directions, all right, you're going to log into commonlit.org, and there's a new assignment for you. The story is called Thank You, Ma'am. I want you to answer 4 multiple choice questions and 1 open-ended question, all right? And that's all I want you to answer for now, all right? It's important to remember that while you are answering these questions, we will be comparing, back to our objective, we'll be comparing how the characters in this story compare to the actual real deal, all right? The characters in Thank You, Ma'am, and how they compare to the Harlem Renaissance in real life. You will be answering those questions, but the questions here that I want you to answer kind of relate a little bit more to some of the other things we've been doing, objectives we've been doing, comprehension, plot, character analysis. All right, so you'll be answering some things also with these questions, and later on this week, you'll be reading more about the Harlem Renaissance so that you can go back to answering our objective, all right, comparing the fiction with the reality, all right? In this time period, we'll be talking about the Harlem Renaissance. We did it with Fly Girl, World War II. Now we're going to compare the fiction with the reality for the Harlem Renaissance. Okay, I hope this video helped you. And if you have any questions, email me, all right? And I'll look forward to seeing some of your responses. All right, thanks a lot. Take care.